A good business is the one that earns a high rate of return on tangible assets.
Very simple.
That's pretty simple, yeah.
Two lessons. First lesson in life is what I buy is very, very important. And what price I buy is most important.
In 2007, Warren Buffett, in his letters to the shareholders, categorized the businesses into three major categories: great, good, and gruesome. He goes on and says that businesses are like a saving bank account where you get the interest investment you have made. I define this investment concept as a RONA, return on net assets. How I define the net assets? The any business which you are running, it requires the fixed assets, the inventory, the cost receivables, and a variable cost which cannot be reduced immediately. Let's understand all of four one by one. What is a fixed asset? If you are running a factory or if you are a doctor, you need some office as a fixed asset to sit there. You need a factory to manufacture the goods. Inventory. If you are a manufacturing company, you must be producing some components or goods that can be stored within your factory until you sell to your customers. You may have some raw materials which will be stored in your factory. The third thing is the receivables. When you sell to someone, the person will not give you the money on the spot. If it gives you on the spot, that's a good thing. Otherwise, you have to wait for 1 or 2 months to receive that money. So that is the receivables. And the fourth thing is the variable cost, which cannot be reduced immediately. For example, if you are running a business, if you have rented a building or office for 2 years, you signed a contract with the owner of the building. After 6 months, you find out that the business is not running well and you want to change the location or you want to shut down the business. But you cannot reduce the cost because you have already signed a contract with the owner of the building. So these are the four components which impacts the business, how you run. So, and these are the four minimum things. If you find a business which requires these four items as minimum as possible, that is the way you should look for. And based on that, whatever return you generate, so I have my range. For example, whatever return I am generating based on these four factors, if that is more than 25%, I consider that business as a great business. If it is between 25 and 15%, I consider that business as a good business. And whatever business which is generating less than 15% RONA, return on net assets, I consider them as a gruesome business. Keep in mind that any business during its lifetime, from start to end, it can move from gruesome to great and great to gruesome anyway. It depends on this business cycle. It depends on the management. What does it mean for the investor and the entrepreneurs? If you are an investor, if you want to invest somewhere, find the great and good businesses, invest them. If business is good or great, if it is growing, that is cherry on top. But do not try to invest into gruesome businesses. As an investor, you should not also overpay. So you should invest into the good or great business at the reasonable valuation. As an entrepreneur, if you are running a good business or a great business, keep running it even if it doesn't grow. If you are into a gruesome business, try to make that business into the good business or a great business, or shut down that business and find some other field where the businesses are generating the good return on net assets. Let me give you the example of the 8 category of the businesses. The first is the great businesses. In context of the India, the listed companies, the Hindustan Unilever, ITC, Nestle, these are the great businesses. Why? They require a very low assets to generate the revenue. They have a very low inventory. They have a very reasonable variable cost which can be increased or reduced based on the volume they have or based on the sales they are making. And the fourth one, the receivable, they get almost upfront money whatever goods they are selling. The second category is the good businesses. The most of the Indian private banks, they are the good businesses. Means they are generating a decent return on equity from 15 to 25% based on the size of the bank. And in general, worldwide, all the airline businesses are like gruesome businesses. They require a huge fixed assets, the planes. Even if they have not make any revenue, but they have to buy a planes which cost very heavily. The second thing, which is inventory, they have to buy the fuel in bulk, they have to keep it into their storage. And the third one is the receivables. So the the airlines may not have the big receivables because they generally get the upfront cash when you are making any flight booking. And the fourth one, they have a high variable cost which cannot be reduced because they make some contracts with the airport authorities. They make a contract with the employees. They cannot reduce the cost immediately because even if there is no demand, if there is a condition like the COVID, they want to reduce the cost but they cannot do it immediately. They have to pay all these things, and that makes this airlines as a commodity business, because there are some airlines which cannot sell the seats for very high cost, and the generally people who are flying, they generally look for the cheapest seat to travel. And combine all these factors, the airline becomes as a gruesome business.